So, if I had to describe what was going on here, apparently, it seems to be getting more and more bare, more empty. Less and less is sticking. But that doesn't mean that intense sensations and emotions and intense thoughts don't arise. It seems like energetically those things are coming and going at a more intense or faster rate. Apparently, in time that doesn't exist. But if I had to explain it energetically, it just feels like that in the body. And it can feel intense at times because, like, this YouTube shit is crazy. Maybe especially this world of non-duality. It's such a huge buzzword, I guess. And since the body was quite used to being in solitude and not really interacting much at all, it was quite intense. Like how quickly it grew, and all of it is seen to not really be happening. Nothing's actually happening. These apparent people who are watching these videos, there are no people, there are no others. There's no one actually watching this apparent character, this body that's speaking. But what seems to be happening is like the conditioning, the energetic patterns within this body are coming up and being triggered by all of the seeming intensity. And they're crumbling as well. Like if I had to describe it, maybe that's what's happening. But nothing's happening. I mean, it does seem like, yes, there are moments of intensity and stuff like that, apparent moments, and it is really fleeting. It doesn't really stick to anything. It doesn't last. And then there's more and more emptiness. But the emptiness has more of a neutrality to it as well. It's not as a stark void as it was maybe before. It's very gentle, I guess. Very neutral emptiness. And there is a subtle vibrancy. And maybe in general, less and less energy is going toward certain things. And all of this can change. Like, I don't know, this is just an attempt to describe what's apparently happening here. And it will always change. The description will never be definitive. So even sharing this message has more and more of a neutrality to it, in the sense that it's really does not have any more value than anything else. It doesn't have less value than anything else. Like, nothing is more important than anything else. Maybe there was more of an excitement to share and express. And if I had to compare to now, this is just a fun comparison. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't, really nothing is actually happening. Nothing's happening to anyone. No one is experiencing this. So yeah, there was a lot more energy toward expressing and to share and interact and answer questions. And it's not that all of that is gone. I would say it's just different. Maybe it seems more neutralized. So on one hand, there is this sense of like, I have no idea what just happened. Like, what was that? What we can call the apparent past 3 months or so. Um, it's like it never happened, and yet there are certain memories, and energetically the body kind of remembers some stuff. This has probably been the most stressful, in the sense that a lot of sensations that weren't felt to this extent for apparently a really long time, just happened quite consistently. And it is so fleeting that the body just does seem to, you can say, recover, or the contractions and tensions just, eventually they release. So it's not like it's a problem. But that's not to say that when something intense happens, then, the body gets triggered or it reacts, and, a lot of thoughts can come, and things like that. So it's just been interesting. It's been interesting to no one's going through it, but going through this apparent deconstruction process of the conditioning kind of crumbling, not having a landing place, but still energetically coming up here and there, and quite intensely too, especially because of this new intense world of YouTube. I don't know how to describe it, but But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun too. Kind of felt like, things were happening and it's just what was happening. Body was getting triggered or excited. Thoughts were coming and going, and things were done, things were happening, things were said. No one was doing it. It was just all this explosive, like a firework of energy. And it's gone. It comes and it's so colorful and then it's gone. There could be like energetic remnants of it just rippling in no time. So because of this evenness, like it's seen the playing field so unbelievably even, you know, no matter what another body does or says or thinks or believes, or if this imaginary contraction is there or not, if speaking about this happens or not, if a spiritual teacher is there or not, if there's a seeker, like no matter what it is, it's all so unbelievably more and more even that it's all just this play of things. The seriousness of everything is just, thinning away. It's just more and more nothing. No position is taken. Um, no position can be taken. And nothing is better or worse. Nothing is higher or lower. No one knows anything more than another. No one is there to know anything. You can pretend to know. You could really believe to know. You could really feel as if there is this reality. But that is unknowing itself. You can say it's birthed from a knowing, but not really. It's just unknowing appearing as knowing. It's nothing appearing as something. Not even appearing, it's nothing, everythinging. Everything is nothing. This absolute beauty is utterly empty. There's just nothing. There's no one. There's no one who can grab onto anything. And there are these energetic patterns here that are trying to do maybe the same old things of grabbing onto certain things and trying to latch onto certain things. And it's sometimes uncomfortable for the body when it tries these old patterns, and then it's not there. The thing that apparently worked but didn't really work, the thing that was grabbed onto and felt like, oh, it had this. I feel a little better. I feel a little more fulfilled. I feel a little more enough. That thing that seemed like it worked, but it didn't, maybe temporarily in the story, like that energetic pattern can still play out. But there's nothing to hold on to. There's just a of recognition over and over that no, nothing was ever had. It can still try, and it does. But that movement seems to be running out of energy as well now. So it's uncomfortable, when it's happening. Certain addictions can come up. Like maybe it wasn't as extreme as, when this message was first heard. But now it's just it seems like just the conditioning and the habitual tendency to want to grab something. But it's just out of habit. Seems like it's dying. It seems like it's dissipating as well. And, apparent people seem to be falling away as well. And now there isn't even the energy to move toward, try to fix, try to mend, try to get closer, try to be something for them, be what they expect me to be. Because there is no me. It's just what it is. No energy is moving toward looking or appearing or acting a certain way for someone else. That's not really there. And then for an apparent moment, it could feel devastating that a friendship of 13 years feels non-existent. And I'm not saying that won't apparently change. No one here is shutting the door to anything. But that's just what's apparently happening as of now. It does feel like mini deaths of, well, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. I never really had it. That relationship was never really there between two people. That was illusory. That was an illusory self of I had a friend for 13 years and now it's not even necessarily that she's more physically gone. It's maybe that is a representation of a death of a me that was never there to begin with. But again, it can change, Nothing is concrete, so I don't know. And there was already no one here to begin with. And that was all continuing. The interaction was just happening. So it's possible. But I did kind of freak her out with trying to explain what I was doing, and I probably should have not said so much, but it's hard when your name is out there and people can find you. All I can say, all that was said here was like, really, there's no need to watch these videos. But who's going to listen to that? So, yeah, I mean, it seems to be getting more and more empty. I'm not saying the aliveness isn't there. The emptiness, I think, is just the stripping away of these energetic patterns that we're running, and they're running out of steam, you know? So, even that seems to apparently subtly slowing down, and it's just getting more and more empty. But the vibrancy of life, just pure life, is simultaneously there with the emptiness. Maybe the fullness of it hasn't, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is just a description of what's apparently happening as of now. It will change. There's no way that it can't. Um, so, anyways, it just feels very mellow, you know? It's not like wow, blissful, but it's not like, oh, fuck. I mean, sometimes I guess it can be. Can be both that. But yeah, I know that no one's going through this process, but sometimes, it doesn't feel that nice. It doesn't feel that good. It feels like there's a death happening. No one's dying. An illusory, imaginary, energetic something seems to be dissolving. And it seems like things are just flashing before your eyes. And they're gone as quick as they come, so to speak. So it's like you miss it. And then you're like, what did I just miss? What was missed? What was that? What just happened? So, yeah, I could see how this can feel like it really ruins the person's life. The person that never existed loses what it really believed and thought was its life because it really felt like it could construct its own life. And so, energetically, there was this movement perhaps to create certain things and make its life a certain way and put energy towards certain things, to be a certain way, to appear a certain way, to be someone for another. Yeah, it could be a lot of different things. And as this illusory person energetically seems to crumble, then the energy behind that facade also seems to crumble. And maybe you could say more of an authentic expression starts to emerge, maybe, perhaps. There just seems to be less and less energy to put up a front. to be a certain way. And then there can even be worry, like, oh, uh-oh, how is this body gonna act? What's it gonna do? What will people think of me? What people? It's just an opinion. It's just a thought that's really believed in. It's a judgment that's really believed in, but by no one. People can, be really confused because they expect you to act a certain way, be a certain way, and now there's no energy to keep that up. So there could be an apparent period of time where people are really confused. They're trying to understand you. What's going on? Are you okay? So, as these conditionings are crumbling, I doubt that it'll go to 0, 0, I don't think that's really that possible with a human body, with this apparent living organism that is programmed and conditioned. There can just be maybe extra multiple layers when this illusory self is really felt to be real. But the more and more it apparently crumbles, then perhaps it could feel more and more like a sense of freedom. It's just what is. I could describe this apparent deconstruction process of the conditioning or an energetic die-off, but throughout that process, that's not really happening. It was just what is. So yeah, it was uncomfortable for the body at times, but it was just what is. It's this. Everything is this. The apparent conditioning is allowed to be just as it is. Whatever is apparently arising energetically is just this. There's nothing other than this. There's nothing outside of this. There's nothing that can become this, become closer to this, can achieve this, can earn this, can become worthy of this. It's just this. So yeah, maybe externally people will look at you like you're crazy or something's off. But who's the one who cares? And it's also okay if there is a worry or if there's a care. Understandable. But nothing ever lasts forever in the play of things. People will, apparent people, will get used to you or they won't. So, yeah, as it is becoming more even, more and more equal, no position seems to want to be taken. Um, yeah, the excitement and intensity around YouTube and posting of the videos also seems to be neutralizing. And that doesn't mean that it'll stop, because I just don't know. If the energy behind it isn't there, then it's just not there. There's no one here to really force it. There's no one here really needing to continue anything. It's just what's arising, and I'm not saying that it'll stop, because I just don't know. Like, there's no one here that knows. What I can say is that the apparent character here, where like the energetic conditioning was to, like, when something was of interest, it was done pretty full on. There was a lot of energy put into things. No one was doing that. It was just there, like creation and expressing in whatever way, a certain way. When real interest was there, then it was, yeah, not always fun, but it was fun. It was exciting. So I don't know if energetically, like, that will also die off. Maybe this YouTube channel will just become more mellow, and I don't know. We'll see. It's just that just energetically things seem to be more and more, I can't say calm. I don't know. It's just more like an underlying infused kind of subtlety and neutrality, emptiness, evenness, equality. Like, really the highs and the lows and the good and the bad and the this and the that and here and there, and like all of that's just, it can still arise, but it's all infused with this emptiness. But it has been fun to, you know, interact with apparent others, and um, yeah, like, so much was learned. It's amazing. Met some great apparent others. So yeah, again, I'm not saying that this will stop or anything like that. The expression is still there. This is still fun. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Because really, nothing is known and nothing can be predicted. It will apparently unfold the way it will unfold. And that was always the way it was. It was just this illusory self that really thought that it knew what will happen in the future, or it could actually make that happen, or it could force it to happen. It could make things be a certain way. And sometimes that's how it appeared to play out, but no one was actually doing that. It was an illusory, energetic sense that was never there. That was never real. Can feel very real. It doesn't actually exist. I think also where the drive um, is subtly diminishing also is because um, there's really nothing wrong with this illusory sense of self. There's nothing wrong with an apparent identity that's identified as a seeker or as a spiritual teacher, as a healer, as a computer scientist, as an engineer, as a designer, as an artist, as a writer, as a mailman, as a janitor, as anything. None of it has any more or less value than anything. Sharing this message has no more or less value than anything. So if there is joy or an impulse to keep sharing, then that will be there. But it does seem like there is this utterly and total even playing field where it almost doesn't matter what is done. So sometimes there is even a sense of people shouldn't hear this message. Because like not necessarily, but it can crumble this illusory self. So but not necessarily. It could be dismissed. It could really just sound like absolute nonsense, which it is. Um, it could, just not resonate at all. And, if it does resonate, no one is doing that. It's just resonating. And whatever that means, I don't even know. But, it is seen here that there was no one there trying to be energetically drawn to this message. It just happened. So it's not like sharing this message is doing good or bad. It's just what's happening. And it can make sense that when it's really, really energetically felt and believed in that there is actually a separate self, it's not really there. But if that is felt, then if this message really resonates, then it can seem like it's better than something. It's better than a spiritual teacher who's telling you to be on a path that you need to become your truer self or higher self, or raise your vibration, or become more conscious, or become more aware. Practice gratitude, be more positive, whatever it might be. It can feel like this message just obliterates all of that and is getting like more to the core of something. There is no core to anything. It's impossible to, sorry, there's like an ant. I'm distracted. So there is no higher truth. There is no, this is better than that. This is higher than that. Even if a spiritual practice or some of the methods and techniques and tools were being used, no one would be doing that. And certain things can still continue here out of habit. Like just sitting in silence can feel good for the body. Sometimes outside when the body's just standing, feels really good. Yeah. So sometimes there can be irritation when certain things are said, like the direct path to happiness or truth or your true nature or something like that. Because there is no one to be on a path. It's already just this. There's only freedom. Everything is freedom. There's only unconditional love, unconditioned. It looks and appears as everything and anything. And it's already just this. And that doesn't mean that these apparent practices that can relax the body, potentially, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't mean that they can't be implemented. No one would be doing it. But there's already no one there. No one is getting closer or further away from already this. So I'm speaking to one apparent person, apparent body, um, that really has no interest in sharing this, in the sense that everything is so utterly equally special and equally unspecial, that the energy and drive to really, get this out there isn't necessarily there. At least, right now. There is no now, but you know, because no one needs to get anywhere. Nothing needs to happen. For already just this. All the colorfulness of life. It's like a beautiful catastrophe of an art piece, of a masterpiece. It's no one's masterpiece. No one is making the art. It's just this explosive, beautifully ugly mess that can appear orderly. It can appear like anything. How do you explain that? How do you put that into words? Sometimes when the emptiness seems so apparent, I can understand why there's just silence. Like, really, what can be said? And even the energy to say sometimes just isn't even there. It's just blank. It's just null. It's zero. More than zero. It's just infinity. It's just eternity. Like, it makes sense when there's a sense of separation that is really illusory. It's not really there. Then yeah, the seeking can be there, and the wanting to not feel that way, or um, yeah, seeking for an answer. It's normal, it's natural, and it's apparently living in time. It feels like there is progression, there is a cause to certain things, to everything. So we'll keep trying until spontaneously the energy isn't there, and then it was seen that it was never there in the first place. And then that seeking is also seen as beautiful and pointless. Beautifully pointless. It was getting nowhere, but it was so innocently seeking, doing what it naturally does. And then there's not even that much of a problem of like people really being apparently in denial or trying to suppress a lot of things, not wanting to look at a lot of things. Like, no one's doing that. Energetically, it can just appear like that's what's happening. But I mean, that doesn't mean that certain words can't be said, and annoyance or agitation and worry and judgment can arise. All of that can arise. This is so normal. This is so ordinary. All of it arises. It's just not happening to anyone. It's not owned by anyone. No one is doing it. No one is feeling that way or thinking that way. So all of it is seen as there's an okayness with all of it. The person is not feeling like, oh yeah, that's okay. The person is not accepting. There is just an acceptance, but that's just a word. There is this neutrality and okayness, and apparent expression happens. Whatever way that appears is whatever way it appears. There's no real trying to manipulate it and trying to make someone be a certain way, because there is no one there. It's just conditioning, it's just energy, it's just these patterns that are apparently running there. And things can be said to potentially unravel some stuff, untangle some things, alleviate some stress and anxiety. Some techniques and tools can be given, or things can be tried. Whether it apparently works or not is not the doing of either a parent party. It's just what's happening. It's just what's unfolding. It's all mysterious. It's all unknown. Yeah. I don't I don't want to sugarcoat how devastating it could feel at apparent times. And how worrisome it can feel sometimes. Like, there is no saying what will fall away, but a lot can fall away. It doesn't seem to all happen all at once. I guess it can, but, you know. But nothing's wrong. No one is there doing anything wrong. There is no right or wrong way. That's just an idea that can be really believed in, a position that can be taken. But there is no right or wrong way. And there is no way. And how this can appear and look varies so drastically. Every apparent body is so different. And then while all of that is apparently happening, nothing's actually happening. What kind of nonsense is that? So there was really no point to this video, like every other video. There's nothing to get. There's nothing to do or not do. There's nowhere to go. Going to the supermarket can happen. The body can still move and apparently do stuff and make decisions. But this is already home. It's already just this. It's already perfection. Unconditional perfection. Beautifully horrific. It's haunting in so many ways. And it's absolutely, it's shocking. It's stunning, and even the amazing stunningness, the absolute beauty is totally empty. Bye bye.